All right. Greetings, Legunus Arendelftir. So, it has been a long time since I did a Ghost of Ideas past, present, and future and all that fun jazz. It's actually been, Tara, it's actually... I don't know how long it's been, but it's been several months at the least, if not like a year maybe. I remember the last time I did one, I was talking about the Iron Hands thing. In any case, though, the reason why I decided to do this one is because the channel is kind in a really... It's in a really iffy spot right now, where I genuinely, right now, it's like I literally just got lost. The Games Workshop's zero tolerance policy, it has thrown a huge wrench into a lot of people's works. I mean, it's one thing to see it coming. It's one thing to actually have it happen. I found it absolutely appalling what they did, but I do stand by the fact I didn't find it surprising. But at the same time, I don't ever want to support what they've just done. Even though I saw it coming, and even though it doesn't surprise me, I personally do not want to support them after this. Not directly by any means. It doesn't mean I'm going to get out of their out of Warhammer 40k and Warhammer Fantasy completely or anything like that. Currently, though, I'm actually kind of in mourning. I've realized I'm a little bit in mourning for what Games Workshop has done. Like, it legitimately bothers me. Sorry, just excising some demons. It legitimately bothers me what they've done, how casually they did it, how complete it was. And some creators like Mark Spark, he took it very well. Well, mind you, he's not... I don't think he's like... He completely says that, it's their right to do it, which I completely acknowledge. It is their right to burn down their own dang ship. If they want to if you want to burn down your own house, as long as you're not endangering anyone else's house, I was like, okay, okay. If you want to tear down your own house, that's fine. They think they're just doing a quick remodel. I'm like, no, you're just destroying it. But it's their prerogative. It's their choice to do it. I acknowledge that. I still don't think I should support it. Because these were creators who were making content for their channel, for their work, for years. For absolute years. I need to take a step back. I need to take one step back. I have recently heard that as long as you are not accepting any crowdfunding, like at all, no crowdfunding, and no monetization in the slightest anywhere, that you can still be making content. Well, making Warhammer 40k content. I have heard that. However, still at the same time, I don't know. That's not exactly a retraction of what they've been doing. I don't know. I'm still a little bit on the fence about that. If that is true, if they're still letting content creators make content, it's just like, but they're not allowed to have their Patreon linked at all to that. They're not allowed to have any Warhammer 40k or Warhammer Fantasy stuff on their Patreon in any way, shape, or form. That kind of stuff I can respect to a degree. It's like, okay, alright, you're saying they can't make any money off any content they make, but at the same time, they're making it. It's your IP, but they're making it. So, on one hand, I completely understand. On the other one, I still don't like it. But it's a whole lot better than them saying people can't make content at all. Like, can't monetize it, or, it can't exist at all. It's better than that, but at the same time, this is what some people do. Like, it's their passion, it's their life, it's the kind of stuff that they... Sorry, I just need to quickly turn around here and kill a demon here. Sorry. Sorry. You're probably wondering what the frag that was. Anyway. But that in and of itself is a topic for another time. My relationship with Warhammer is currently kind of up in the air. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to say about it. I feel very mixed up about it. The one thing I know I won't be doing is getting Warhammer Plus. Period. Like, for now. Unless Games Workshop comes out and straight up says, like, Brava, Alpha, the guy who made the text-to-speech device, I have a really hard time remembering his name, his channel name and all that. I do not know why. I've read it so many times. But, like, if they straight up say that he can make content and stuff like that and apologize for any misunderstandings or hurt feeling, blah, 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 and be like, hey, we never meant for it to be a zero-tolerance policy whatsoever, or anything like that. We never meant for that to happen. We're sorry about the confusion. We know you were getting contradictory answers. If they straight up came out and said that and were like, we still don't want you making money off of our IP, but if you're making this as a passion project, no problem. No problem at all. And it was an official answer, straight from the top. Not one talking head saying one thing, but another talking head down here at the bottom saying another thing, contradicting each other. If it was just one solidified answer, I'd actually be so much more okay with that. So much more. Anyway, though, that's just me. In any case, though, if I can get my brain to work here, where I'm thinking about taking the channel, well, I sure as frag am going to be covering content that those, like Sodaz. Oh, Sodaz is still making amazing work. If you, I don't care if you're into Titanfall or not. Personally, me, I love the concept of Titanfall. Hate the storyline of one. Oh. It's still a mixed signal. Oh, sorry. Hey, Fijesh. It's still a mixed signal from the company because people couldn't decide what the specific policy was for all. Yeah. And Brava Alphabusa. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing that correctly. Thank you for looking that up for me, Fijesh. But yes, it's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of pain because it hurts. It hurts to have those who are in control of the IP that you're passionate about, that you love, that is what you care for, to literally backhand you across the face and say you're bad, or you can't make content for us anymore, or not make content for our IP anymore, even though you're free advertising for us. Or even the restriction of you simply can't be making any money whatsoever off of this. Whether it be through monetizing off of YouTube, or whether it be, if I can remember what this next part is, or whether it be crowdfunding or whatever, you can't have any of the stuff that you make in RIP even linked to your Patreon or anything like that. It's like, there has been so much confusion, and it causes pain and whatnot. And that's one of the reasons why I have so much uncertainty about whether or not I even want to be involved in Games Workshop. And right now, I'm taking even a break from the lore. Like, I'm taking a break from even reading the books. And for the time being, I won't buy anything firsthand from Games Workshop anymore. I'll buy things secondhand. Like, I'll go onto the secondhand market and buy models from people that they're selling and whatnot, or books and whatnot. But I personally do, until Games Workshop retracts in some measurable way, straight, and apologizes for the confusion and pain that they have caused amongst content creators and those who have been giving them free advertising for years, I don't want to support them. And I genuinely believe that's legitimate. So, for the time being, I won't be making Warhammer 40k or Fantasy Direct. Well, okay, I can't actually say that with 100% certainty. Because I love the universe. I do. And I still want to be involved in it. But at the same time, I don't want to be a free advertiser for them anymore. Because they punished people who were working a heck of a lot harder than me to give Games Workshop free advertising. They punished them horribly. And I'm so far beneath their radar that I'm a blip. I'm the tiniest little blip in a massive ocean. They're not going to notice me unless suddenly I grow exponentially, massively, or anything like that. At the same time, the content that I make that involves their work, the most it could possibly infringe on this IP is when I create stories and narrate them and whatnot, and that's not covered. That's not covered whatsoever under their works and whatnot. But I gotta tell you, every single time I made a fan fiction lately, it was in their IP. And I'm talking even writing, not even just fan fictions, I'm talking stories in general. I have not made a story in my own personal universe for a long time, which I do feel like is a tragedy because I do actually really like my universe. I think it's actually pretty good. And I think, honestly, some of the works I've written easily hold up well past most of the authors in that Games Workshop employs in the Black Library. It doesn't hold up to Dan Abnett. I'm not saying it's that far up there, or Aaron Dembski-Bowden, who are both legendarily good authors in my opinion. But a lot of the other authors in there that Games Workshop let write the Horus Heresy, I'm just like, those, most of them, okay, maybe not most of them, but a lot of them, I'm like, yeah, my works are better. I've written both in my universe and in fan fictions of Warhammer 40k. And that's sad to me. That's just sad. But moving forward with that, I no longer have passion or drive to want to do that in their universe anymore, even though I still love the universe. But because of what they've done with it, to me, they've helped gut their universe. Alright, I want to move on from this and talk about things I do want to cover. So I'm trying to like set the ADHD aside and set this aside and be like, okay, so what do I want to cover? What I want to cover is like Sodaz and Brava Alphabusa. I want to cover what they move on to. It doesn't even matter if it's in a universe that I'm not familiar with or that I don't like. They're content creators that I love. I've loved the works that they've made in the past. I've loved what they do, and I believe they deserve my loyalty. They deserve my repeat viewership. And if they're going to move somewhere else, I'm going to cover their content and try to get others to look at it and be like, hey, this is really good. I'm not a big fan of Titanfall. Well, I'm a big fan of the idea of Titanfall. The storylines for 1 and 2, in my opinion, were poor. Were really poor. Well, okay, alright. The storyline for 1 was not poor. Let me fix that right now. It wasn't poor. It's just, I liked it. It was a good concept. It was, my opinion, it was really good. Problem is that they made it multiplayer, and you couldn't watch it. Or, sorry, play it in sequence. You just played it in whatever match you happen to get dropped into. And if you happen to have a group that stuck with it, and you happen to start somewhere near the beginning, it was kind of awesome to be able to actually play through it in sequence to the point where you felt like, you're like, oh, okay, this is the idea of the story. In the end, yes, I eventually played it so much that I played on both sides all the way through. And I had a better idea of the game. And it helped. It helped so much. When I finally was able to do that. I played it so much that I was able to piece together the storyline. But, holy Terra, did they make it hard. And in number 2, well, I love many of the ideas. Sorry, difficulty breathing there. Dang, sorry about that. I love the idea of number 2's story because it was going in some very interesting places that, yeah, were intriguing to me. However, I feel like it had a lot of poor execution. And yeah, I won't get more into that right now. But Titanfall 2, in my opinion, was a waste of potential. It had so much potential, and I feel like they squandered it. Like, massively squandered it. Which, to me, is an absolute tragedy. Because Titanfall itself is an amazing concept. And when you can't capitalize on your work that you're in control of, I'm like, no. No. Anyway, though. Let's see. Sorry. Went off on a tangent there. Sodaz, though. Sodaz made an amazing cinematic for Titanfall. And I gotta tell you that this would not be out of place in a professional style game. It was amazing. I freaking loved it from beginning to end. I'm not the biggest fan of the Titanfall series due to where they've taken it, and I'm storyline is my number one thing. But this thing had me invested from beginning to end, and I was just like, oh, was just enjoying it all the freaking way. Would recommend it 110%. And then Sodaz released another video recently that's something, it's like a wallpaper something or other that you can use if you have a wallpaper engine, which you can buy in Steam. I tried very hard to figure out how to use that because it was so cool. It was so absolutely cool. I cannot emphasize that enough. And they had that legendary Fallout 4 music. It was a wallpaper engine for Fallout, in case I didn't mention that. And I think it was set in the pre-war. It shows a dude standing there in T-60 power armor, overlooking a field in front of him. Well, it doesn't show the field in front. It just shows him, the backdrop behind him, what's behind him. But you can see he's got soldiers streaming past him. He's on what looks sort of like guard duty. And he's holding a huge minigun. He just shoots it off at random points at targets you can't see. And there's this vertibird that pulls up behind him sometimes, then pulls away. And it's meant to be a continuous wallpaper that you can have on your desktop. And I want it so bad. Like, I cannot emphasize enough how badly I want it. But I don't know how to use a wallpaper engine, and I'm trying to figure that out, and I'm really bad at doing research and figuring those kind of things out for myself. It sucks for me. My ADHD always kicks into high gear whenever I'm trying to figure those things out. Anyway, though, yeah, but Brava Alpha Busa, he said he's going to be branching off away from 40k, that it's too much stress and that it's affecting him too much in his personal life. I don't blame him one bit, because he keeps getting one answer from one department. He keeps seeing the different answers, and it's too much stress for him to try and continue making if the Emperor had a text-to-speech device. Now, I know that, Mark and other people viewed kind of if the Emperor had a text-to-speech device as a little bit of an insult towards Warhammer 40k. In the event that he happens to watch this, in my defense, I just want to say, Mark, that I do watch if the Emperor had a text-to-speech device, and I was up to date on it, and I loved it. Okay, I loved it. Not because I took it seriously, not because it's, to me, was the true canon or anything, but just because it made me laugh. It made me laugh, and I laugh so rarely these days. And I know the first thing Mark's going to say is, you do you. I'm just all like, Mark, don't hate me, okay? Don't hate me. Like, I love the grim darkness of the Warhammer universe, and I don't believe that if the Emperor had a text-to-speech device, that Brova Alpha Busa is trying to make fun of it. I don't believe he's just coming in and trying to make fart jokes or anything. Fact is, I think Mark might have been referring to it when I asked him, what do you mean, are people making fun of Warhammer or something like that, once on one of his live streams, and he said, it's like, imagine if you're sitting here, you're taking the universe seriously, and somebody comes in and starts making fart jokes and stuff like that about it. I don't know if you were referring to it or not. I don't know what you were referring to, because I didn't ask you to get specific. And at the time, I'd forgotten that I was actually invested in the If the Emperor Had Text-to-Speech device, and I didn't view it as making fun of Warhammer 40k or anything. The long story short is, I seriously enjoyed it because it made me laugh, and there were so many different parts of it that had me cracking up so hard in times where I was so stressed and I wanted to cry. I wanted to weep. I just wanted to bawl. And I'd see another episode of If the Emperor Had Text-to-Speech device dropped, and I'd go and I'd watch it, and it would make me laugh. Priceless. Absolutely priceless. And yeah, I just want to put that out there. And due to his style, due to Brova Alphabusa's style, I am waiting eagerly to see where he goes, to see what kind of content he'll make, because I already know that he makes content that I love. And as for Mark himself, Mark Sparks, yeah, I'm on his Patreon, on the Patreon's only page, and I won't talk about the things that I've seen in detail or anything like that, but I'll tell you, anyone who loves Death of Hope, who's decided not to support Mark because he's decided that due to the fact that he can't be making any, due to everything that's happened already with Death of Hope, due to everything that's happened, he will no longer be making Death of Hope. And I won't get into the details of it. If you want to go and look at his official explanation, all that, I welcome you to. He explains it a lot better than me. But as for me, I know that his content is amazing because I've seen Death of Hope. And what's more is I've been seeing Sathis. His original work that he's made, I've seen it. It's really good. It's like really, really good. And I gotta tell anyone and everyone who loved Death of Hope, don't unsubscribe to him. Like, if you were on his Patreon because you love Death of Hope, stick around. At least until he drops his first cinematic to really give it a chance. And now, I'm not telling you what to do, even though I technically just did. This is my advice. This is me saying, give him a chance. Because I've already seen his content. It's absolutely amazing. It's worth every single dollar that I'm dropping. It's worth all of it. Mark's content is amazing. This is his universe. This is his, the money that he's earning either from his own, directly from his job, or that we're giving him on Patreon, that he's paying to people he's doing the artwork. He does live streams of him doing the artwork. I don't know if he's got other artwork that he pays other people to do, but when it comes to voice narration, I believe he's still working on the script, and then that'll start getting narrated. I think he already has a video basically ready to drop, because I think he does. I don't know if he's only going to release that I don't think he's going to release that only on Patreon. I believe it will drop to YouTube. Don't quote me on that. But, yeah. And I am just so excited. Because it looks so good. I've seen all the artwork he's made. I've seen all the stuff he's been working on. I am so excited. And yeah. That's my take on that. There are other content creators like Absolutely Nothing, I believe he's called. Yes, that's the name of his channel, Absolutely Nothing. And he's branching away from Warhammer 40k now. And what he's made already is... I'm absolutely loving what he's making already. And I'm looking forward to more. Already talked about Sodaz. And there are others. So I know that Warhammer 40k is probably your main love, as it deserved to be, and technically still does. But if you loved it, and you love the content creators who are making content for it, I'd urge you to watch what they make next. Because, they deserve to make money for what they're doing. What they do requires so much effort, requires so much work. It's ridiculous how much work they put in. Mark alone, all the animations he did, all the work he put into that, like all the animation was him by himself. He did that. I don't know about the audio. I know that when it comes to the voices, he has certain people that he got help for that with. And the chills it still gives me to listen. Sorry, I think Penny just sneezed. To listen to that word bearer captain, I think he was, turn around and go, they raise Monarchia to the ground. We've come, like humbled our legion. We've come to return the favor. Oh, listening to that still gives me chills. Still gives me chills. I cannot emphasize enough how talented Mark is, and the people he either pays or that volunteers to do it. I don't know. I'm not in the process or anything. I'm not behind the scenes or anything like that. But that's the kind of talent he attracts, where I get chills from watching that. But yeah, that's stuff I plan to cover. And if that's stuff that you think you'd be interested in, stick around. Because I'm going out there and trying to find every single content creator who made Warhammer 40k content. If you know of one that I haven't covered here, please let me know. And I intend to cover what they make next. Because I absolutely believe that they deserve all of our love and support. If they deserved it before, they do now. In Games Workshop, even though I know there's no chance on Holy Terra that you will ever see this, and if you do, you won't give a crap about it. But at the same time, if by some miracle that occurs, I was a hardcore fan. I was planning to get Warhammer Plus, and that was money you were going to get from me. And now, unless you apologize, and at the very least go back enough to where you will re-attract a lot of these content creators, you'll never get another dime from me. Not models, not books, not audiobooks, and not on Warhammer Plus especially. What you've done is despicable. I have no respect for it. Yes, I know you had the right, but I have no respect for it. Also, I will reinforce now, I do not in any way, shape, or form encourage hating on employees of Games Workshop. They had no say in this decision. They didn't get a call in it, and it's not their fault. So once again, I had somebody jump to that conclusion, even though I posted that video where I clearly stated, don't hate on Games Workshop employees. Yeah, I tried to make that clear. And I had somebody jump to the opposite conclusion. And I was like, did you watch the video that I worked 3 days to make? Anyway, though, Fijesh, are you going to branch into your own universe on this channel? I am thinking about it. I am genuinely thinking about it. I would like to. I would love to cover my own universe. It's rich in lore, and I've already dropped a couple of videos on the ships that I'm making, from the Arcanarius to the Nauseam. And I'd love to actually narrate some of my own stories, but I want my artwork up in the background when I narrate that kind of stuff. But I don't have any, so it's like, what artwork to drop? So I'm trying to find where to even locate an artist that I can pay to make artwork for my stories. And whether that be Last Dawn, which is a more fantasy-based one, or whether that be for my more science fiction, like Cav, which is a sci-fi novel that I've got, I think, over 100 pages written, at least 60, I think, written on in my own sci-fi universe. And there's so much lore in it. There's so much lore that I have in my head that I just need to write down. That would be amazing. If people actually started enjoying my actual original content that I made, oh heck yeah, I think I would absolutely dive headfirst into that one. I mean, if there was no water in that pool and I just, crater at the bottom, all right then, but I think I'd like to do that, Fijesh. I mean, my universe is where I have the control, and if I think that I have novels that are just better than what Games Workshop has dropped, I don't know. I think that would be pretty good. But anyway, though, I'm also thinking about starting up a second channel where I will talk about more real-world stuff, where I may even go out shooting, because I now have my own firearm. Maxim 9. It has an integrated suppressor, and it's an awesome firearm. It looks weirdly futuristic. And not to mention, my wife Fijesh has her own firearm. And thinking about that. I don't know. I want to cover more real world things in some areas. I believe escapism, to one degree or another, needs to be kept separate. Like, excuse me, sorry. I see that our culture, for some reason, is deciding that for us, that we can't have escapism from the real world anymore. That we need to have politics injected into our society on every level. And more than that, though, I see things going on in the world that I don't want to keep silent about, that I want to talk about, that I really want to talk about. And I've got strong opinions on a lot of things, but I don't want to eject my opinions onto my channel that's meant for escapism. In other words, I don't want to do it from the opposite angle to what I see our culture doing, saying, in their direction. So that's something that I'm thinking about. If anybody has any opinions on that, whether you agree or disagree with me, or whether you think I should just cover real world topics on my main channel, let me know. I'd be interested. But those are my thoughts and opinions on a bunch of different things where I'm thinking about taking the channel. I'm not sure. I don't know. And yeah. And if you have any thoughts, opinions, feelings, emotions on the subject, leave them down comment section below. I would be much obliged. In any case, though, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and hop off now. I got to wind down for bed because work is calling tomorrow. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you out there. In any case, though, y'all, you stay safe. Because this world, there are people trying to kill it. And it ain't pretty. And I'm just saying, don't let it die. This world's worth saving still. And this is coming from someone who, at points, just wants to start bawling his eyes out. Full-grown man that just wants to curl up in a ball and start bawling his eyes out some nights. Because what I see going on out there in the world is breaking me into pieces. But I'm telling you right now, this world is still worth saving. It's worth fighting for. I'll go ahead and leave it there. So you stay safe out there, Legionist. And don't y'all be getting into too much trouble, or do.